Hi guys, my name is Grace. I am an event coordinator at Kenley Creations, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about postponing your wedding during COVID-19. I know this is a hugely popular topic across the internet right now, so if you're getting married soon, you've probably heard some advice on this already if you're rescheduling. So hopefully the tips that I'm giving you are new information that can help you move forward with this process because it's pretty tricky for couples. That said, here is my first step. I call it step 0, feels, because before you can get to a solution, you have to feel what you're feeling. And what I've heard from a lot of couples is that they're feeling discouraged and disappointed and upset. This isn't an ideal situation for anybody to be in, so I completely understand and sympathize with you. And I encourage you actually to take a minute just to acknowledge your feelings around this and speak to a family member about it, speak to your fiance about it. If you have a wedding coordinator, reach out to them and just talk about how you're feeling before you move forward. And if you need to cry, cry. If you need a night just to celebrate your relationship with your fiance for where it's at now, knowing that you're going to have a little bit of wait before you're married, do so. It's a really important element just to take time to feel what you're feeling. All right, so step number 1 is to review your contracts. And this might sound like a bit of a daunting task, especially if you have a lot of great vendors on board already. So I would suggest having somebody support you in this task, such as your fiance or your event coordinator if you have one on board. The first thing that you're looking for is any dates or times listed on your contracts that you have confirmed for the product or service. Because yes, the date will be changing, but that could also mean that the time of setup or the delivery could be changing. So you want to look at what that is and just be aware that it's going to need to be revised once you have a new date ready for your postponed wedding. The second thing, and most importantly, is to look at the refunds and cancellation clause in your contracts. And those are just the standard ones that came in your initial contract. So before COVID hit, every business who gave you a contract will have that clause. Just look at what it entails. There's probably an initial deposit that you paid every vendor that is usually non-refundable, but reach out to those vendors and ask, hey, what's your policy for COVID? Step 2, tell your venue. Call the venue and say, hi, it's so-and-so calling. We're thinking of postponing our wedding due to COVID. Ask them what they're doing to support couples during this time. They might have extra support or a little bit of leniency in some policies, just to ensure that their clients are happy, first of all, but that everyone can be flexible and coordinate dates that work. So with that in mind, it's great if you can be open to hosting your wedding perhaps on a weekday or on a Friday evening, opposed to a Saturday, because those are such popular dates, and they might have already booked other couples in for 2021. If you have your heart set on that venue and you like working with them, that's my biggest recommendation. Or to be open to getting married in a season that you hadn't planned originally. So perhaps getting married in the winter instead of the spring. That can guarantee you still a spot at that venue and the dream wedding that you've been imagining there. Step 3 is to contact your key vendors. When I think of key vendors, I think of every single vendor who's involved in the big day. But what I mean by this is the vendors whose schedules will be affected the most, who are with you for the entirety or for a big majority of your wedding day, such as florists, videographers, photographers, DJs, the officiant, etc. So what you really want to do is just tell them, hey, this is the new date that we've postponed our wedding. The venue's confirmed it. We're set to go. Are you still available? Can we get the exact same service that we agreed on initially? A credit might be a great way to go in this case, but ask them what their business is doing and how they're handling postponement policies. There might be a deposit that you don't get back, but they might still be able to say, hey, yeah, we're available that day. We can give you the same service, same price, no problem. That's best case scenario. And many vendors are flexible again. So There shouldn't be too much issue with that. If there is a vendor who's already booked on that day and you have to find a new florist, say, then it's great to have a wedding coordinator to help you out with these things. We have a huge network of pros in the wedding industry, and we'd love to help you find someone. So, of course, if you find yourself stuck and there's like a date conflict, contact us and we'd love to help you find another great fit for that vendor. Step number 4 is to contact the rest of your vendors. So this could be your baker or whoever's helping you out with your wedding dress fittings and alterations. Now that you have a new wedding date, you've secured that date with your venue, and you've reached out to your key vendors, it's a good time to do this. And what you want to make sure is that these people are also available for your date and that they can provide the same services you originally agreed upon, hoping that they have time to do so and that your budget can still have room for that. If not, it's an appropriate time to downsize on some areas that aren't the most meaningful elements to you, perhaps, or to upgrade if there's something where you go, wow, we've had this time to realize how important our wedding day is to us, and we really want to emphasize this, then maybe you can adjust your services at that point. What you need to ensure, no matter what, is that you get revised, updated contracts from every single one of your vendors. And all that has to be changed in this is the date, absolutely, and the times that correspond to when their services are conducted. So that could be the setup or delivery of something. As well, there should be an updated payment schedule on the contract, and the clause for postponing or rescheduling your event should also be mentioned. Step 5 is to notify your guests that you've postponed your wedding. So you can do this through your wedding website if you have one. Just write a brief statement that says, "Hi, we've postponed our wedding," and announce the new date. Another way you can do it is through paperless posts. So you would just gather everyone's email addresses and then you send out like an invitation again, but it would say, "Hi, our wedding's been postponed," or there's lots of cute and catchy ways to address your updated invitation and notice. And that way you would just need to make sure you have everyone's addresses, but you could do an email blast. The other thing is that a lot of stationery providers have super elegant and tactful invitations that you can send out to say, "We've postponed." Like, you can order those, or if you did like photo cards for your save the dates or for your initial invitations, you can order something through Vistaprint and then mail those out. So there's super creative ways to do this, just to notify your guests. The other thing is that you want to help your guests make it to your wedding for the postponed date. So to make this an easy process for them, you could always send travel information, for what airlines are doing, like canceling flights. You can send them links. If you have done like a room block at a hotel, contact the hotel and see if your guests can get any kind of refund for the rooms that were booked. If it was a wedding where a lot of people would be traveling and needed to have accommodations overnight, then this is a fantastic way to help them out, and hopefully your guests can all make it for the new date that you've rescheduled. Alright, so that wraps up my tips for planning your wedding around COVID-19. If you have any specific questions that weren't addressed in these videos, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll reply with some answers for you in a video or just by direct message. And if you need more help or assistance with rescheduling things such as vendors or your date in general, we'd love to hear from you. We know how much work that this can be. So if you've come as far as just watching these videos, I salute you. That's fantastic. You're steps ahead, and good luck with the rest of your planning.